Hi everyone, it's me, Kat Yui. Welcome to another show. Today we're doing a review. However, I personally shall not be doing the review. My eldest nephew shall be doing a review of Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. I got this for him for Christmas, and he wanted to do a review and share it with you. He's already on the second book, but he's only going to be discussing this book today. So here he is, my eldest nephew. There you go. Okay, start it off.
So the only thing I don't like about this book is that it doesn't always focus on the two main characters, Alex and Connor. So it's kind of annoying. Like, for example, there's the the love triangle between Red Riding Hood, Goldilocks, and Jack from Jack and Beanstalk. And for some reason, it just makes me very annoyed. So...
How old are you? Tell them how old you are.
I'm 9.
And how long did it take you to read the book?
It took me about, just 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay, good. How many other books were you reading?
I was reading, 2 other books at the time. Not sure, but...
So, what do you think of Alex and Connor?
Alex and Connor they didn't figure out that their grandmother was Cinderella's fairy godmother until the end, almost the end of the book. They were very surprised, and they just thought they fell through a book. And actually, Connor later mentioned how he just sighed, and Alex was like, "What's wrong?" And he was like, "Oh, nothing. It's just that the Narnia kids went through a wardrobe. Dorothy went in a tornado, and we fell through a book." And he thought it was kind of boring compared to the others. So I don't know what to talk about first. There's a lot of parts.
Want me to give you some hints?
Sure.
Okay. What do you like most about Alex, and what do you dislike most about Alex?
Well, Alex, she's a smart kid. She's a lot smarter than her brother Connor. They are twins. They don't always get along.
Careful, don't shake it.
What I like about her is she doesn't give up. She's a very nice girl. I know this sounds corny. Very corny. And I don't know what I dislike about her.
Okay, Connor, what do you like about Connor?
Connor,
what was your favorite moment for Connor? I'm
not sure. There's a lot of funny moments. He does funny. Funny's his thing. I'm not sure what my favorite moment with him is. He does a lot of funny moments, like with Froggy, who is one of the charming brothers. He calls him Froggy. He called him Froggy, and he still does. He still did, even when he got turned back.
Okay, we'll talk about Froggy then. What do you think of Froggy?
It's kind of weird. I would not be very happy being a frog. Man-frog thing. He is a man-frog thing. I'm not sure what story he might be from. He might be from... I think he might be from the story...
No way?
The Frog Prince.
Oh.
Because he's a frog, and he said he got turned into a frog by a witch. And so he was in a hole because he didn't want to go out into the world looking like he did. I mean, I wouldn't either.
Who else is on the cover?
Froggy's on the cover right here, right down there. That's Froggy. And there is this guy. He's like one of the people from the Big Bad Wolf Pack. Right here.
Is he big and bad?
Yes. They all want to kill the Big Bad Wolf, Little Red Riding Hood, who's now a queen of the Riding Hood Kingdom. She only did that to impress Jack.
She became queen to impress a guy?
Yeah.
How?
Well,
What about her? Tell us about Red Riding Hood. What's she like?
well, there's a question Connor came up with. There was a lot. The only pictures you would see in all the hallways of her castle are of her. So either that's because she's the only like royalty they've ever had, or because she's just selfish. She's really selfish, or it's to impress Jack. Either one of those.
Does she have any talents? Is she interesting?
She didn't really do anything in the kingdom. She just let her grandma do it.
Oh, her grandma. What did her grandma do?
Her grandma was making sure the kingdom didn't die or whatever. So, and she was she was waiting for Jack, who brought her a basket every week. And she also proposed to him every week. And she really loved him.
And what about Jack? What's up with Jack? Is he a nice guy?
Yeah. He's very sad until the white dove comes. And that's from Goldilocks. Goldilocks is like sending him something to come see her because she's an outlaw in the dwarf forest, and that's where anyone goes if they're like they don't want to be found, because it's just like wherever they go.
So he loves Goldilocks?
Yeah, they both love each other, but he always wants to go with her whenever he sees her, but she won't let him because she wants him to live his life and not be an outlaw like her. The funny thing about this is that she got blamed by the three bears, and she's an outlaw for eating some porridge. I don't get it. I mean, it's not that bad of a crime.
She broke into their home.
She didn't break into it. They left the door unlocked.
It's still entering a home without permission. Okay.
Well, she was actually only waiting there because Red Riding Hood sent her a letter, but she tricked her because she said it was from Jack, and she sent it to her saying to meet her, saying for her to meet him at the house. And she actually said it later in the book. She just thought she would just give up and go.
All right, who are the other those two ladies on the side?
The two ladies, there is right here, Snow White and Sleeping Beauty.
Do they have any stories to go in the book?
Not really, but they met them because they were looking for items for the wishing spell. The wishing spell will grant you any wish, but someone had used it before, which was their dad, and their dad used it to get back to their mom because he visited once and fell in love with her, but then the fairy godmother never let him go back again because that's what a mother would do.
She made him abandon his wife and children?
No, so they weren't married. They didn't. Well, at the time, there was a time difference until these two were born. Because they were the first ones, like, born with, like, non-storytellers. Like, people in the story world and, like, in the normal world. So...
Okay, what can you tell us about their grandmother? Do you see her much, or...?
They didn't see her much. Their grandmother, the fairy godmother... She went from between world to world like telling stories to the children, and that's what she did. So
you mentioned the Charming Brothers. Do you only meet Froggy, or do you meet the other ones?
you meet all three of them. Wait, I need to find something real quick. If I tell you something. Can you stop? Can you sing at least something else?
So young. Okay, what was the story? What happened? Like, what did you think of it?
It's very good. I'm not gonna say exactly what happens, because if you haven't read the book,
you should.
Yeah. So forget that. So I wanted to find the guy. A knight was said which Charming Brothers married which.
Princess.
But Froggy went missing because he turned into a frog. I would run away if I turned into a frog.
Don't do that. What's that?
So they sent a search party, but a good came out of that because one of the Charming Brothers found Snow White's the coffin and woke her up, and on the search they found it. And another one of the Charming Brothers, there were three at the time because there was 4 Charming Brothers, but one of them was Froggy, so that left 3 looking. And so another one of them found the Sleeping Beauty's castle and woke up the kingdom. After that, they were still very sleepy.
What about the third one?
The third one,
or the fourth one, depending on
the third. In the search, his brothers had taken all the princesses available, so so he had to set the ball where he met Cinderella. So it just happened. So.
Who is your favorite character?
I don't know. It's really hard.
Well, okay, so these characters are different than they are in the fairy tales, right? Just a little bit?
Yes.
Who did you like more than their their regular fairy tale counterpart? Or who was more interesting in the book? Or can you not think of an answer? Okay. Were there any animals besides the wolves?
There were the trolls and goblins who actually kidnapped Connor and Alex. And one of the wishing spell items was there, but they didn't know what it was because the wishing spell items were in rhyme, so they didn't know what it was until they saw it. It was like the Troll and Goblin King's crown. There was one that it was in the middle of the chairs. So they realized that was it. Cause I'm gonna see if I can find the rhyme for it. Yeah, kitty.
What does your mother think of all this? Or do we not know what she thinks?
We don't know what she thinks.
So they get home at the end?
Yes, they do.
And you've already started the second book, correct?
What's that? Okay. Okay, the one for it's called, it's like a stony crown that's made to share, found deep within a savage lair. It was the troll and goblin territory. They didn't know it was that. Well, there's something bad about the trolls and goblins kidnapping because the fairy council had made a rule that they had to stop, and they didn't stop, and the fairy council didn't know that until those two went to the fairy kingdom for teardrops of a maiden fairy, feeling neither magical nor merry. And they told the fairy council, like, this.
The trolls and goblins are still working together?
Yeah, because this fairy Trix, they found this fairy Trix, and she was crying, and Connor, did something that Alex didn't like, and he just like this vial that he used that was in like the back of the notebook that they found with the stuff in it. He's just like, and he just took a teardrop.
He didn't ask?
No, he just went like, because
crying fairy. Yes,
he did that. No, he did that because Alex was trying to make her stop crying, and he was just like, "What are you doing? No!" And so then she was trialed she was crying because she was being trialed. They were very strict, and just because she had turned a fairy's wings into plum leaves for a tiny second, and then turned them back. And then she was trialed because she did that. And she was gonna be like sent out of the fairy kingdom for doing that. It was very strict. And so,
did Alex and Connor have a sidekick, or was Trix their sidekick?
No.
No?
They left her there. So he was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like saying like about all the stuff he gone through, and he was like, and we got kidnapped by trolls and goblins, and then like all that stuff, and then like after he was talking, they were like, whoa, wait,
back up.
What did you just say about the trolls and goblins? And they were like, they've been stealing stuff. Not feeling so snappy now, are ya? Huh? And so, they like went off to stop them from doing that. They kidnapped them again because, one, they'd stolen their crown. Well, that's mostly the reason. And because the tunnels were shut off that they were using. So, the first thing they needed was very easy because they looked at the notebook that had the items they needed in it while they were in Rapunzel's tower, and it said, "A wavy lock of golden rope that once was freedom's only hope." That was a lock of that had to be like a lock of Rapunzel's hair, and so they took that, and so they had one down already, and they met Snow White when they went to her kingdom and asked where her coffin was, because it said glittering jewels whose value increased after preserving the false deceased, because it was deceased. And so that happened, and then they met Sleeping Beauty when it said, "A needle that pierced the lovely skin of a princess with beauty found within." It was
the spindle.
The spindle from Sleeping Beauty. And so, is there another subject?
Well, what about the writing? Do you think Chris Colfer is a good writer? Did he engage you?
Yes, because I love fairy tales and they're like my thing. But there's another thing I don't like about this book. At like the classroom, they said like this woman was like, they made like fairy tales into all this stuff that wasn't true. Like it made it like not what it really was, and like because like in this it made like a bunch of action in it, and it just like a fairy tale. And like the shows I watch aren't like the real thing. Like the ABC show Once Upon a Time. If you watch that, then you know what I'm talking about. It's not.
It's a different take on the fairy tale.
Yeah, And so is this, and a lot of other things, including Disney movies, which are not like.
And then there's the Grimm's fairy tales, which, have you read those yet?
No, not really. And so the movies that they might make, like the Hansel and Gretel, like the movie Hansel and Gretel, that wasn't like. It's just.
Do you mean the Witch Hunters?
The Witch Hunters.
No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count at all.
Yeah.
All right, so this has been a review of the book title.
The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell, and if my mom lets me, which I won't, I might be watching Glee with her, and you'll see that, and
maybe other shows. It depends on how well you guys react to this, and if his mother decides that he can do this. So let's all give a round of applause for Eldest Nephew. Yay!